Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weekly Stoke. I am super excited to welcome Steve and Cindy Berlack on today to talk about something that's really important, avalanche safety. So Steve and Cindy Berlack are the founders of the Brass Foundation, and this topic is near and dear to my heart. As a Burke alum and a friend of Ronnie Berlack's, I was there when he had the tragic passing in the fatal avalanche. And so this is something I take extremely seriously and think all of you should as well. That being said, COVID has shut down tons of resorts and really had an increase in ski touring, skinning, AT skiing, whatever you'd like to call it, but is sending people back to the backcountry and side country and not really providing a ton of information about how serious backcountry and side country skiing can be in terms of avalanche safety. So that's why I brought in the experts. I'm super excited to have Steve and Cindy here to give us a little bit of knowledge and also just bring their passion for the subject to make sure that everybody knows how they can be better prepared next time they're skiing in the back and side country. So before we really get started, Steve and Cindy, do you mind one of you explaining what the Brass Foundation is and what it aims to do on a day-to-day basis?
Sure. Thanks so much for having us. Steve will explain that. I just want to say we're co-founders with the Astle family, Bryce Astle's family.
Thanks. Thanks, Cindy, and thanks a lot, Parker, for providing this forum and opportunity, talk about snow safety and introduce the Brass Foundation to some new viewers and enthusiasts. Brass, the Bryce and Ronnie Athlete Snow Safety, was founded in 2015 after Bryce Astle and our son Ronnie Berlack were killed in an inbounds slide in Soelden, Austria, while participating at a U.S. ski team camp. And they were preparing for some Europa Cup competitions. It had snowed heavily and they were out free skiing, and they jumped off the groomer to ski down to another groomer, and they were caught up in a slide. 6 boys on the slope. Ronnie and Bryce were collected and were killed. It was a real wake-up call for ski and snowboard, the national governing body, and hugely tragic for the families. So Brass is an educational organization that reaches out to people that are interested in being safe in the mountains. Originally, our target audience was the 35,000 ski and snowboard members. Cindy developed a program called Brass 101, which we delivered to many of the academy and club programs, probably over 5,000 kids in the US over the last 5 years. And after the pandemic hit, she developed a webinar format where we were delivering it interactively to these groups that we couldn't get out to. We have a presence worldwide. Cindy has presented at international snow safety conferences in North America and in Europe on the importance of the know before you go concept of snow safety education. And we're just trying to really push and get the most basic elements of snow safety education into the hands of people that may be venturing into the backcountry.
So thank you, Steve, just for that quick rundown of what Brass is. And it truly is incredible what you and the Astle family have put together. And so thank you for that. But so as you've mentioned, education is a huge portion. And that's really why I wanted to have you guys on here today, to just ask a couple of questions and really try and educate our population, not even just the SYNC community, but anybody else who sees this video. So with ski touring and its popularity increase, we're seeing people from young enthusiasts to all the way to veterans, but even just really beginners that are trying to get into skiing in general, getting into places that they may not know the importance of avalanche safety and snow sport safety. So what can we do to work together to try and combat this unknown and this education piece so that we can prevent these fatal avalanches?
Well, we've actually presented the basic education on our webinars this fall, and they're recorded on our website, which is brassavalanche.org. And you can click on education, and there are a lot of choices there. We know most of the classes have been filled up, so to learn the education online is a really good thing. These webinars are an hour and a half given by snow safety professionals across the country. So you can choose one from a professional in your area. And they really pull together the basics of snow safety, which is the 5 safety points that are recommended that everybody follow when you go into the backcountry. But that available education is really one of the main things that we've offered. There are other recorded webinars and courses, but another aspect of BRASS is to look at the signage, look at how information is communicated. One element we're going to focus on an upcoming webinar that's a refresher course for midwinter users, now that we've done the webinars in the fall, is interpretation of the avalanche forecast, which can be daunting because it's mostly written for experienced backcountry people. But it's key in regulating what you access and how you ski on it, how you look at what you're gonna be on. It all looks like beautiful white snow, as you know, and it's enticing. So it's good to be able to interpret that avalanche forecast.
So that's great that there are these webinars, and you mentioned 5 key points. Do you mind saying what those 5 key points are?
Yep, get the training, get the gear is the first thing. Get the training, get the forecast, get the picture, which is the overall picture when you're on the mountain. Look for the signs. We have 5 red flags if you can see a sign of an avalanche, and then get out of harm's way are a couple of points on how to conduct yourself when you're actually on the slope. And even if you have no training, those, unfortunately, is the last point, but it's some elements that you can apply to your tactics of descending on the mountain. Mainly go one at a time so you can spot each other. So if something does happen, the rest of you can find that person. But those are basically the 5 points.
Yeah, no, those are great and extremely helpful. I think if anybody's going to leave anything from this webinar, it's just those 5 points. Take those with you, 5 points.
Yeah.
So I think this next question is really important for the SYNC community specifically, and ski racers. So as you guys know, ski racers are really talented skiers, and for the most part, a lot of people would say are some of the best skiers on the mountain. But that kind of mindset in a ski racer's head that you can ski anywhere, anytime, and anything may get in the way of being smart when it comes to snow sports safety. So how can we try and reiterate to our ski racers that it's okay to be smart and still be able to have fun in the backcountry?
Well, Parker, that was the genesis of the Brass 101 platform. When you look at the accident, and you can actually read the accident report on the brassavalanche.org website, what they discovered were that the athletes and coaches were woefully unprepared for the circumstances that they encountered on January 5th, 2015. And a lot of the mistakes that the coaches and the boys made are really addressed in the 5 points. Beacons, probes, and shovels. They didn't have any of the gear. Safe travel ritual, as Cindy mentioned, only one person descending at a time. They all were on the hill at the same time, descending, all 6 of them. They had followed a group of 6 Germans that properly descended the right side of the couloir, one at a time. And that was somewhat of a trap. They saw fresh tracks. And when we built this out for the 35,000 ski and snowboard members, not just alpine skiers, but, free ride snowboarders, et cetera, we were trying to kind of get into their heads and what could really impact their decision-making. And, that is how that platform was built out. And I have personally spoken to, many groups, and there's a nice little trifold brochure I used to have in my hand, the Know Before You Go brochure. And I would say if this was in the seat back pocket of any one of those athletes or coaches on the flight over there, those boys would be alive today. You just don't need to know that much not to get killed in an avalanche.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think that actually transitions us perfectly to my next question. I know we've talked a lot about the education piece and this Know Before You Go, but if you could say 3 things that somebody, if they knew, could help them in a situation of a potential fatal avalanche, what would those 3 things be?
Do you want to talk about that, Cindy?
Yeah, there's one thing element that we didn't mention, those 5 points, and I think this is one of the things that you really have to remember all the time, is the human factors in in the group dynamics. When you're up on a mountain, you can be stoked, you can have invested a lot of money and time in getting up there, and you just have to evaluate whether it's safe or not. And the dynamics of the group can play into that. Maybe there's a leader that everybody respects and he's not as educated or doesn't have as good judgment as everybody else. So you have to learn to say no and be sure you're in a group where other people will respect you if you say no and understand
Well,
those dynamics.
and it's always handy to hire a guide and get local knowledge working for you if you're out of your your home environment. There are plenty of resources out there that can turn a tragic day into a really fun day by just getting some more experienced people with you. And that's a very hot business right now, guiding in the backcountry. It's growing like crazy as the sale of hard and soft goods has grown as well, which is what we need to see.
Yeah, no, it's been great to see everybody enjoying this sport of skiing that everyone in our community loves. And so we'd love to have more people join that community, but like I said, it's really great that we're being able to get this information and give people a little bit more knowledge so that they can be safer. So with that, I think it's really important that this next question I ask you guys, how can people stay involved with Brass, either donations or help in any way? And then is there a way that we can gain more resources other than the website, or is the website the best place for people to continue to get more information moving forward?
You can follow us, Parker, on Facebook and Instagram, and we have mini posts where we're putting out information from the major avalanche centers in the U.S., which is both informational, and there's a link to our fundraising page. Delivering this education is expensive. We've had some very generous people supporting us, and the more we can raise, the more we can do in North America and in Europe. So brassavalanche.org is a great place. And if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, there's always a link at the bottom of those posts where you can support the organization as well.
Great. Well, Steve and Cindy, it has been an honor to be able to have you guys on here and to talk about this subject. And I hope that as we continue to see advances in everything that you've done in terms of the education that people are receiving, I know we're still a long way to go. And so we're hopeful to continue to help support Brass in any way that we can and help people really get the information and the tools to be able to have fun, but also stay safe. So thank you again so much for your time. And to everybody listening, I hope you guys gained some valuable information, and I'll catch you all next week on the Weekly Stoke. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it too.